Hi guys, great to see you. First of all, I just want to say thank you so much for all you've done up to this since we finished up school. Um, Children, you have been so good, really good at responding, interacting with the Padlet, and the and to the parents also. Thanks a million. It's been phenomenal the response, how good you are at communicating over and back to me. I know sometimes I mightn't have things as clear as they should be, but for sure, don't be afraid to send me an email, and I'll try my best to clear it up. I mightn't always be the fastest at getting back, but I will get back to you, and I will try and clear things up as quick as I can. And also on the news that Leo Varadkar broke the other day that we probably won't be returning to school. Um, I, for one, was quite sad because, I had just got to know the fifth and sixth class in Esker, and you were a delight to work with. So I probably won't see you now before you finish up for the summer holidays. But I just want to say thank you so much for everything before we finished up. Due to COVID-19 in the classroom, you were a joy to work with. Really fun, vibrant class. Every single person was such a valued person, such a valued um, addition to the class, and the world is your oyster. Sixth class. I look forward to seeing you in the with your bright futures when you shoot through secondary school. You'll have no bother any of you. And fifth class, I wish you all the best projecting up the ladder into sixth class as well. And there's probably a lot of you are well fit to even move on to secondary school, but I'm telling you, the world's your oyster. Whatever you do what you enjoy, stay at it, and work hard. Anything is possible for any of you. Okay. So I suppose now moving on to capacity. So the reason for today's video is I just wanted to talk about capacity, and I suppose it's a little bit easier when you see it. With most of us being visual learners, it would be a lot easier if some of us, or if we were able to work in the classroom, I suppose, and get our hands on things and measuring things. But I suppose the first question that we have is what is capacity? Now, a lot of us would know what the answer to this is in our own heads. It mightn't be written out in a sentence in our heads, but we know what capacity is. So last year, the fourth class last year, so the current fifth class, you would have worked with probably liquid and changing estimating what the capacity of a certain container was, and filling it up then, and maybe finding capacity of it. And you would have been renaming volume or some liquid into liters and milliliters. Okay, and fifth class, the last year's fifth class, in the current sixth class, you would have been working a little bit more with adding and subtracting liters and milliliters, and some working with fractions and decimals and some word problems. So both classes you'll be moving on that little bit more. The questions will get a little bit harder, I suppose, for both classes, and what you'll be working on is it's what you know already and just stepping it up that little bit. And we'll be using other areas of the curriculum as well, like the fractions and percentages and decimals that we've already done this year. So first of all, I suppose the question is, what is capacity? So capacity is how much of a liquid or a substance we can fit into a carton or some sort of a cylinder or container. So capacity, most of us would know, I think, what the capacity of one of these cartons of milk is. So the capacity, or how much liquid we could fit into this carton, is 1 litre. And I think if we were sent into Joyce's in Athenry, or wherever we shop, if it was Aldi or Lidl or Tesco, I think most of us, if we were sent in for 3 litres of milk, we would know straight away. We wouldn't have to say what is a litre of milk. we would know straight away. So this, and it shows us our capacity there in the back, 1 litre. So if we use this as our guide, if we think, if somebody asks us what is the capacity of something, or if I ask you, or if it's a question and you're estimating, I would always say, try and bring it back. Well, this is for the bigger things now. If we're talking about a teaspoon or a tablespoon, that might be a little bit different. But for the most part, if we're talking about what is the capacity of something, whether it be the sink, whether it be the kettle, whether it be a bottle that we see in front of us, if we tear it back to this and we think, right, this is 1 litre. So if a carton of milk is 1 litre, and I see a bigger bottle, I know it's a little bit more than 1 litre. Is it twice? Would it hold twice as much as this? Then it might be 2 litres. If it holds half as much, it might be 0.5 litres or 500 millilitres, and we'll get into that a little bit more. Okay, so this is our 1 litre container, and this is what I would say to keep as the base. So then, if I said to you, what does this hold? So the answer was wrote in the front of it there, so I'm trying to cover it up. But if I said, what does this hold? Some people may know from just saying, from just getting it in the shop and saying, I got X amount of orange, club lemon, Coke, whatever it is in a bottle. But if you weren't sure, if you tore it back to this, you might say, how many of these would I fit into this? So you know this is 1 litre. How many of these would I fit in? You might think 2, 2.5, 3. You might think 1.5. Not sure. You might think of the bottle is a little bit wider. It's taller, but you may know the answer. Your estimate may be right or wrong, but my opinion is if you tear it back to this, you will never be too far wrong. So we can see from our bottle then, this one is 2 litres. So this container, the capacity of this bottle is 2 litres. The capacity of this container is 1 litre. Okay? Alright. If I was to take out something like this then, so this is somewhere in the middle. So we have our 1 litre, we have our carton that's 1 litre, we have our bottle that's 2 litres, and we have this one in the middle. So we know what a carton of milk contains. We know that this bottle is bigger than that. Okay, we can see it. Is it wider? I would say they're about the same. So it's a little bit taller. This one, we know this one is quite a bit bigger. It's taller. It's also wider than this one. Okay, so you could have an estimate there. So I'm going to give you a couple of seconds there to have an estimate yourself. Think about it. Oh, I might have shown it, but think about it. What would this be? So you know now from thinking about your 1 litre carton of milk what that is. So how much bigger is this? Would it be 0.5 bigger? So would this be 1.5 litres? It might be just slightly bigger, so it might be 1.25 litres. It might be closer to the 2 litre bottle, so we might say 1.75 litres. So so if you have your estimate, you will see now how close you were, and we have our answer here. So the capacity of this bottle is 1.25 litres, 1.25 litres, and or 1 litre and 250 millilitres. And I will talk about that in a little bit. Don't worry about it. If you find the decimals a little bit overwhelming, I'm going to go through it on this board now in a couple of minutes. But I just want to talk about the basics first and how we might estimate, and then how we would find what the capacity of each container is. Okay, so we've estimated a little bit there. We've talked about it, and our capacity now was not only used for water, oil, and liquidy substances. It might be used for things like ketchup. We have our capacity here. You think of your litre of milk. Do you think this is 1 litre of ketchup? And I know that these are harder to estimate now because you can't physically have them in your hands. You're looking at them on an actual screen, so it's a 2D image. But just from looking at that, you know that is a little bit thinner. Is it as tall? The milk is a little bit taller. So I would say that the milk probably has a bit more. This actually has 570 milliliters. So the capacity of this container is 570 milliliters. Okay, now it also has grams, and I will be talking to 6th class about that in a while, so you don't have to worry about the weight or the volume, but we'll talk about we're only talking about the milliliters and the capacity, liters and milliliters. This one then, some mayonnaise, smaller than this one, would it be half the size? It's also thinner. The ketchup is also wider. So if you have your estimate there, the last one was 570 milliliters. What do you think this one is? So we'll put them side by side. There we go. And your guess and the actual answer. So the actual answer is 250 milliliters. Do you know what fraction of a litre that is? If you said a quarter, you are correct. Okay, or 0.25 as a decimal, 0.25 litres. We'll talk about that now a little bit more, alright? If these containers were empty and we want to guess, or not guess, sorry, well, we could estimate, but if we were to estimate, but if we wanted to find out exactly how much the capacity of these containers were, so if I got this holds 1.25 litres, but if this was ripped off, so if this was taken off, and I really wanted to know what the capacity of this is, what the capacity of this bottle is there a way that I would be able to find out? So think of some measuring apparatus that you could use. So we could use, I actually have a couple of things here. So the first thing that I have is just a water bottle. I've seen some of you with these in school, and it has different numbers along the side of it. So it has 250 milliliters, 500 milliliters, and 750 milliliters. And the way that I would be able to do that is fill this up with water and keep filling this. Actually, what I will do is I will go and fill this with water just to give you a quick example of how we would be able. So I'm just going to pause this for a second. Now, I filled this with water. As you can see, there's water on the top of it, or near the top. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to just go 250 milliliters every time, and I will keep adding them up, and then we will see how much. So I will put in, now this would work a lot better on a steady surface. So I will hold it in my hand, and then I will put it down on a steady surface, and I will just let it rest to see what I get to 250 milliliters. So you have to sort of guess as you're pouring in, and put another little bit. This one I've gone a little bit too much, so I'm going to go up to 500 milliliters just for the first one. There, it's flat. Yeah, so that is exactly on the line of 500 milliliters. So now we have 500 milliliters, and I'm not just pouring this in the ground, I have a little basin here. So 500 milliliters so far. I will go another 250 milliliters. Yeah, there we go. That's 250, so 500 plus our 250. We have 750 so far. Now, 750. Now, with 1,000 milliliters in a litre, and I was going to mention this when I was going to do a little bit on the board, but there are 1,000 milliliters in a litre. So I had 750, and I add in my other 250. So now I have 1,000 milliliters, which is the same as 1 litre. Okay, so I have 1 litre currently taken out of the capacity of this bottle, and then I have this bit left. And let's see, is the capacity correct? So this one said 1.25 litres. We're just over the 250 milliliters. So I put that in, and I have 1 litre, 250 milliliters, or as it says on the side of the bottle, 1.25 litres. Now, this wouldn't be like our graduated jug or cylinder, where this only has three standard measurements, and you wouldn't be trusting this to do if you wanted an exact amount. So what I have done is I filled my 1 litre milk carton. So we know this is 1 litre. So I have 3 different jugs that I could use. My first one is 500 millilitres. This is half a litre. Okay. This one is exactly a litre. 1 litre. And my other one is a big one. This is 200 millilitres or 2 litres. So I could use my 200 millilitres or my 1000 millilitres. So if I use my 2000 millilitres or 2 litres, it should come up to about there, 1000 if you could see it. But what I will do is I'll just check that these are both the same. So although these are different shapes, and this is not as tall as the carton, it is a little bit wider, the capacity is the same. So this isn't like measuring the area or perimeter or the size of a field or the size of our books or anything like that. This is a measurement of how much it can hold. So whether it is really, really wide and flat, or whether it is very tall and narrow, it doesn't matter. If they can all hold the same, we say that they have the same capacity. Okay, so I'm just going to fill this now, pour it out. I filled this fairly near the top, so I would imagine that it is going to come near enough the top of the jug. And there we go. And I'm not going to go too near the laptop, but as you can see, it's right at the top. I'm just going to pour it out and I'll show you where it came to. So it's right at the top. We have 1000 millilitres, I hope you can read that, which is the same as 1 litre. Okay? Now, I'm just going to do a little bit of theory. I don't want you to be overwhelmed or anything like that, but I'm just going to do a little bit, and if you need some help when you're doing the questions in your book, this may be a good thing to refer to. And tomorrow's video then I will be doing a little bit more in detail in regard to word problems or maths problems. Okay, so a lot of this, some of us might know this already, and that's fine, but some of us might not know it. That's fine too. Whatever you need to take from it. If you can add to your learning, definitely add to your learning. Okay, so as we said already, 1 litre, which is our milk carton, wherever I left it, right? So 1 litre is equal to 1000 millilitres, as it said in our jug. And it's dripping a little bit, so I'm not going to go too near the laptop, but it says 1000 millilitres. So we have 1000 millilitres. Now, when we talk about decimals, and I know that there is going to be some questions about decimals in our books. When we talk about our decimals, the amount of decimal places, even though on the side of this it says 1.25, we should always have 3 numbers after our decimal point. And the reason for that is that there are 3 zeros in 1000 millilitres. So 1000 millilitres is 1 litre. So with 3 zeros, we should always have 3 numbers after the decimal point. Okay? I hope that makes sense. And I will give a little example, but I'm going to rub it out afterwards. And it's just to show you where these numbers come from after the decimal point. So if we were talking about measurement and metre, so when we were doing length, we were talking about 1 metre is equal to 100 centimetres. Now, when we talked about if something was 1.5 metres, so if I measured the height of if we put our school desk, or if we had a little blackboard in the classroom, the height of it might be 1.5 meters. 1.5 meters is equal to 1 meter, and you may know this already, and 50 centimeters. And the reason that it's 50 centimeters is because there's two numbers after it. So instead of 1.5, what we could say, and it's the same thing, no matter, you can put on as many zeros as you want at the end. 0.50 meters equal to 1 meters and 50 centimeters. And the reason that I put the decimal point here, and you should just keep doing this when you're doing your maths questions, even if you, like, there's no need to shorten it, it doesn't make a difference, okay? So if you always think 1 meter is equal to 100 centimeters, there's two zeros there, so I should always have two numbers after my decimal point, and that will give you the exact number then, okay? Now I don't want to confuse you. If that confuses you, forget about it, okay? Just pretend that you didn't hear it, and we'll move on, and I will explain it here. So 1 litre is equal to 1000 milliliters. What would, so in our, I want us to just think to ourselves there, 0.5 litres. Now some of us might think that this is so easy, and that's fine, okay, but I want to make sure that everyone is coming together now. So 0.5 litres. If there are 1000 litres, or 1000 milliliters in 1 litre, 0.5, now most of us know 0.5 is a half, and half of 1000 is 500 milliliters. Now also, do we see that there are three numbers here, because there could have been three numbers after our decimal point because of the three zeros. So this would have been the same thing as writing 0.500 litres is equal to 500 milliliters. And then that makes everything so simple. Our 7-Up bottle, this one here, it's at 1.25 litres. 0.25 litres. Now that's not, we could think by looking at that now that is 1 litre and 25 milliliters, which would be wrong, because we don't have our three numbers after our decimal point like we have, like we have talked about here. So is equal to, actually instead of doing that, what I will do is I'll rewrite this 1.250 litres is equal to 1 litre and 250 milliliters. Okay, and that could work for any number. We could be given a question that says a bottle contains 1.7 litres. How would we be able to figure out how many milliliters that is? We just go again. 1.7, how many numbers do we need? We need three numbers after the decimal point when we're talking about capacity. 1.700 litres is equal to 1.7, is equal to 1 litre, 700 milliliters. Okay, and I'll do one more. We're given a question with 1.38 litres. That's the same as 1.380 litres equal to 1 litre, 380 milliliters. Now I hope that makes sense. I know it's hard enough to see this board here. If you need to pause it and zoom in, or if you need to take a picture of it on your phone and zoom in, try and do that. I'll just bring up the laptop here to go a little bit closer. If you do want to screenshot it when I get a little bit closer, 1 second. Oh, okay. So if you need to screenshot that or look at it, if that helps you to make a little bit more sense, that's fine. Now, for our work for today, so Tuesday's work, what I want you to do, I've given you a list of things to find the capacity of. So first of all, what you have to do is you have to estimate, you have to find something in your house to measure it with. So some of us actually There's two things on it actually. There's a tablespoon and there is a teaspoon, I think. And even with this little jug, I wouldn't be able to do it. And I don't have any of the measuring cylinders at home. These are tall, thin cylinders that measure really, really small quantities. So I would have no way of doing it. You would probably be the same. If you do, that's great. If you don't, what I want you to do is find something else in your house. It can be anything. It can be something like, one second, I have this drawer here just full of stuff. If I empty that out, I can find the capacity of that. It could be whatever you want it to be, really, to be honest. You know, you just find something around the house. I have a little candle here, if this was burnt out. Or you could find a pint glass, and that's a good thing to do actually. You could do a pint glass instead of one of them smaller quantities, and then you would be able to find a pint is equal to how many litres. Okay, so you would be learning there also. Now I'm going to do one of these, but I want you to do the rest of them at home, okay? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause this now and I'm going to bring the camera in, and I'm going to do the kitchen sink. Well, actually I'm going to use the bathroom sink because my kitchen sink is actually leaking at the moment, so I'm waiting for someone to come. So I'm going to do the kitchen sink, or the bathroom sink instead of the kitchen sink. You can redo it. You can use the one I have done if you want to use that as your kitchen sink, just so that you can have an idea of what you're doing and something to write down as a guide. Okay, so it's up to you. Or if you want to create an extra row at the bottom and do bathroom sink, and then do my one, and you will be able to estimate as we're going along. So I'm going to pause it now. Then I'm going to go into the sink and we will work on that. All right? Okay. Okay, so instead of actually going out to the other sink, what I've done is I actually ran down to the kitchen sink and I got the basin. So we will find the capacity of the basin instead. Now I've left the basin here, and what we will do is we will use what I will do is I will use my big jug, which the capacity is 200 milliliters. We know from looking up at our board, 1 litre is 1000 milliliters, so the 2000 milliliters would be 2 litres. All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start to measure this out, and what I will do is I will use the small jug. I will see what I can fit in this, and then I will use the small jug just to bring that up to 200 milliliters, alright? Because I can't just say that's 2 litres now, alright? So what I have to do is I have to have it exactly 200 milliliters to find the exact capacity of it, and I need a little bit more. Okay, so that's my first 2 litres. So 2 litres, I'm just going to pour it into the basin here. So that's 2 litres. What I will do then is, up here, I've just took up another board for a minute. So I will write so far we have, and I will keep writing how much we've taken out, just to make sure that we don't make a mistake, because we don't want to have to refill it again. Alright, so we'll stay going. Another 2000 milliliters we want to get. Another 2 litres. Yeah, already there. Now this would be better on a flat surface probably, instead of me just holding. But there's another 2 litres. Okay, so we know so far I have 4 litres. I'm just going to write it up here just so that we have it. 2 litres, and it's good practice to keep that going, because or keep writing it down as you go along, because otherwise you could be guessing at the end and you might make a mistake, okay, or you might have to redo it again if you lose track. All right, so I know this might be a little bit slow to watch, and you know I'm no good at singing, so you could sing a little song to yourselves as you're filling. Okay. Now there is another 200 or 2,000 milliliters, apologies, or 2 liters. I'm just going to pour that into the box beside it. And now I better write up that. What I'm going to do is, so I have another 2 liters. So we have 3 jugs with 2 liters. So far we have taken 6 liters. And what I will do is, I will actually use the big jug now to fill the small jug. And the small jug, I'll just show you here, can hold 500 milliliters. So I want to fill the jug with 500 milliliters. Okay, up to the top. There we go. There's 500. Better write that up. 500 milliliters. Okay. And I'm writing these a certain way now, and I'll show you afterwards so that they'll be easy to add up at the end. Okay. So another one. Okay, we're getting near the bottom now. Okay, another 500 milliliters. You know your small bottles of Coke or of orange that you get, they're 500 milliliters. So although they look way taller than that, they're probably not as wide. So that's why that is. So I better write up that one. 500 milliliters. Now for the last bit, because it would take me ages to keep filling it now like that, what I will do is I will get my big jug and I'm going to pour it in. And now I need to put this on a steady surface. I'm actually going to put it on the laptop here for a second. And don't know if you can see that. You can't really. So what I will do is I will put it here, and I will try and get them same both sides here. So I am on, it's just a little bit over 400. So 400, there are 5 lines between 400 and 500. So that means between 400 and 500, that's 100 between the two of them. So 400 to 500 will be 100. And there are 5 lines. So 100 divided by 5 will be 20. So each line represents 20. So 400 plus 3 lines. Yeah, 400 plus 3 lines. So 460. Okay. So 400. Where are we here? Yeah. 400. And you see the little lines in between. So it went up to 3 of them. So we had 460. So I'm just going to flick you up here to the board again. So 460 milliliters. And we can add them up. Now, can you see the way that I kept the liters on one side and the milliliters on the other? Now, good practice would be to, what I could do is I could write my 3 zeros here if I wasn't sure, and always write your liters and milliliters. You know, it's not going to make any difference. It will actually just help you. And here you can write your 0 liters, 0 liters, 0 liters. And the reason you have 0 liters is because this little jug is less than a liter. It can hold 500 milliliters or 0.5 liters as we see over here. Okay? So I'll add them up here. So 0, 6, 5 and 5 is 10 and 4. We carry it over like usual. So we have 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 2 is 5, plus 2 is 7. So, and don't forget These are really important. Do not forget your symbols or your signs for each, for no matter what you're talking about, whether it be kilograms and grams, meters, centimeters, milliliters, or millimeters, liters and milliliters. You know, it's really important that you remember them all the time. Okay, so our capacity, and I actually didn't estimate. I probably would have estimated 8, and the reason I would have estimated 8 is because I would have thought of my litre, and I would have thought of 4 going across, whereas I couldn't really fit 4 across, and 4 going on top, so you couldn't fit 4 fully across. But I would have estimated 8. It's 7 litres, 460 milliliters. So now, challenge. Let's see how close you can get with your estimates. Doesn't matter whether you're way off or whether you're really close each time. The important thing is that you are estimating, you're measuring, and then the next time you try to estimate something, you might get a little bit closer. So that's what you want to do. You want to train you're trying to train your brain to be able to measure capacity through your visual or through feeling something, or both of them. Okay, so this has been great. My first YouTube video to make for school, so I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it made things a little bit clearer, and if there's any questions, just pop me an email, okay? Alright, okay, have a good day. See you guys.